It's like everybody wants to be religious. Everybody claims they love God and I love God, my Lord, my Savior. They go to church on Sunday. But when I look at the world from my lens, from TV to people, I don't really see people who fear God. I don't see, when you watch TV, I don't see anything that shows me that this human race fears God, okay? When you go on Fox TV and you watch Dexter, and you see all the vampire movies, you see all the evil, all the killing, all this stuff on TV, it makes me wonder, like, do people really fear God, or is it just cool to claim you love God? Is it cool to claim that you're religious, but does it really reflect in the real world, though?
Well,
like, I don't hear girls praying.
I'm gonna touch on a few of those questions that you said. First off, you should not. I don't think you should fear God. I think you should love Him, and I think you should know that, like I said before, He could take anything. And I also do believe that because I am, I guess you could say like a God-fearing woman, you could say, but I don't fear God, but I love Him.
What's a God-fearing woman, though? Like, what is that?
I believe in God. I believe that the things that I do in this life has a lot of consequences, and God looks down on that. If I do somebody grimy, I know God is looking at me. If I do something that I shouldn't be doing, God is looking at me. But the reason why we do that is because we also know that our God is a forgiving God. So we do things that's constantly.
But what if God's not forgiving, though?
He is forgiving.
Let me just speak, though. What if it's convenient, right? Like, what if God's not forgiving?
Right.
Like, isn't it so perfect that in religion that we make God so forgiving? Whatever you do, God forgives you. So what's the point if I'm gonna get forgiven for whatever I do? Not saying what's the point, but I think that we tend to run with that God forgives all, but I don't think God forgives all. I don't think God can forgive someone that that abused a child. One of his, I don't think God abuses somebody that killed an innocent person for no reason. Like, what kind of God do we serve that forgives everything?
Did you ever see that movie Shaq on Netflix?
No.
Okay, well, it's basically a woman who plays God, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy, he gets lost in the woods, and basically, his daughter gets taken by a guy, and it's left to the viewer's interpretation to think that she was raped and she was taken by this guy. And this guy keeps asking God, who's played by a woman, I forget her name, she's famous, that why you keep doing this? Like, why would you do this if you love me so much, right? And why don't you punish him? So he basically said, all right, there's 3 kids, you got 3 kids, right? And one of your kids turned out to be a murderer. Would you take one of your kids' lives out of one or?
Well, I ain't see Shaq. That's confusing
kids.
me right now. But
you
look,
gotta watch it. You gotta watch it to
I feel as though like people seem to run with this I'm religious, but are you really? Do you pray? Do any of y'all pray at night? Do you pray honestly? Your last time you prayed?
I'm not a religious person, so I don't like to say that I pray. I speak to my higher power. I speak to them all the time.
Okay.
And I go like this past the cemetery.
But being a Catholic, right? They're gonna kill me in the comments. Oh, here they come. It's like they just come talk to the guy behind the box and he just gives them a couple of Hail Marys and they're good?
Let me say this before I forget, Guap, right? Yeah, so going back to, does God forgive?
Yeah.
Right? Life is a big contradiction, right? Mm-hmm. But to sit there and say God forgives, due to the books, right? Mm-hmm. God forgives, but He don't. That's a contradiction in itself because there won't be a heaven and hell. Right? So because if you do certain things that's not due to the commandments or whatever, right? Whatever that you believe in, you know that it's a lower energy and a higher energy, which is heaven and hell. So how can God forgive, but He'll send you to hell?
It's because people think that like, oh, God is gonna forgive me, everything is gonna be fine. That's not what it is. It's the fact that His love is endless. So yeah, you could mess up, you could do something that is against His word. You're gonna go to hell, right? According to the book, but He's still gonna love you.
Of course, yeah.
And that's where the forgiveness comes.
See, like to me, that's where it sounds weird
He can love you and you still go to hell.
all right, I know because in the comments they go crazy for these God topics and they always say, "Oh, y'all so stupid. You're not scholars. Who are you?" But we're human. We're just trying to learn, like you are. And I feel as though like that is so. God forgives, but God has a threshold.
Right.
It's a limit to when I think it's a hell because God loves us and He wants to forgive us and He wants us to achieve that ultimate level of being a positive, great human being and having more good than bad. But when God sees that you're just not trying enough and you're not giving it your all, I guess hell's your spot because you're right. If God forgives all, then why is there even a hell?
I think
We should
you're
all get a pass.
you're misinterpreting
I'm not missing the point though. I'm saying
Yeah.
that God forgives, but it's a limit to what God forgives.
No, you're gonna be forgiven. It doesn't matter.
So why is it a hell then?
Because you made that choice. God, according to the book, right? We're going to the book. He gives everyone free will.
Okay.
You're thinking of His forgiveness as in like He's gonna give you a second chance and you're gonna go to heaven. That's not the forgiveness. The forgiveness is
But He
truly
does
His
give
love.
us
That's
second
it.
It's like beating a kid for something that he like giving your child a spanking, a light, mild one. We're on YouTube, and you forgive him, but still give him the spanking. I really think that. Like coming up, I always had questions about God in church. I always had questions, and sometimes they wasn't always answered. Like, I still have unanswered questions to this day. Like, why is it the Dead Sea Scrolls? Why are we hiding Adam and Eve's? They had a whole book in the Bible. Like who was Enoch? So I always felt like religion was always altered. And I think that mankind has altered religion to suit his needs.
Absolutely.
I think mankind has used religion to alter and to suit man's need, because the women in religion get a bad rap. They do. In every religion, Islam, they gotta cover all up, be hot, cover everything crazy up all the time. Being Catholic, they go to the covenant, they gotta stay in there, wear that, they gotta shave their head. Like I think religion is a reflection of man.
100%.
Religion is a form of control.
It's a form. And now Penny, now give me your definition of God to you. I want to hear what God means to you.
Man, it's indefinable, but it's just like a higher consciousness. It's an energy. It's an eternal. I wouldn't say superior, but just a higher consciousness that we all have access to, and I think we're all an extension of that energy. So it's kind of like when I'm speaking to that energy in my mind, I'd be like, I sound crazy because I'd be like source energy, God, higher consciousness, all that is infinite intelligence, like what's up, blah, 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 because it's indefinable.
I feel like God can be defined. I think people want to put God into like a man or a woman or a box. I really feel like God is like a conscious energy that is conscious. Like imagine the internet, but it was conscious. It was alive. It can speak. It knows all, but it isn't like a person. I think saying that God's a person or a man or a woman is like kind of like
Primitive.
an insult.
Yeah.
Like God has desires.
insult, yeah.
Like God has a actual body. I think God is a creator. I think that voice in my head that when I don't say a word, but I can hear that voice, that's God's consciousness to me.
100%.
That's God to me. I can sit here and hear a voice in my head. I don't know where it comes from. But I can say a word and hear it in my head. So I think God is more of a spiritual connection that we all have. But I do feel like us as humans, religion to us is more about control. It's more about to give us a creed to live by. You understand? 'Cause if I make a whole race of people, I need to give them instructions on how to live, on what to eat. And the Bible even has an area about your diet, what not to eat, who you can have sex with.
And then
who
there's
to
a bunch of
date.
different
It's basically-
Bibles and different
and the word
religions.
Bible, it's a word it stands for, but it can be broken down to basic instructions before leaving earth. If I was a God or creator, I would need to give you rules to live by. Because if not, you'll eat her, you'll go steal, whatever. I think mankind needed rules to live by, and that's what religion is basically used for, as a handbook on how to be a civil human being. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think it's basically a handbook on how to be civil with some cool stories in it, but it's basically made to give you a guideline on what not to do.
It's a self-help book.
You feel me?
Right.
And Dre, so how you feel about the Bible having things in it that make no sense to you as a human, no sense to you? Like reading the Bible, it's things in it that make no sense to me. Like, can this actually be possible? Is this even real? Like, do you believe in the Bible and what's in it, or do you kind of just fall back and just follow what the rest of the world is doing?
I mean, I believe in the Bible as far as teachings and lessons, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun from what somebody can tell you from the past to now, even with technology has evolved, right? But the teachings that's in the Bible, right, or even in the Quran, or even in Buddhism, right, the teachings, right, it's just if you lock on the teachings, it can help guide you because there's nothing new under the sun.
We are saying that religion is about control, but we haven't discussed what it controls. So I feel like it's controlling. So what do you think religion, how's it, names how it controls you, or how it has affected you directly with the control being used?
I think the thing about religion is it's not impartial. So you have different type of religions stating different type of things. But going back to Buddhism, if you read the history, it says they're religion, but they're really a philosophy. And I think that's more what I base my life on, not religion, but philosophy. And that's you do well, you'll see the afterlife, or things like that. But religion is okay, I could be Coptic Orthodox and you're Catholic and you're Muslim and you know what I'm saying? But we all differ in our beliefs. So religion is kind of made so people can live a certain way, but I think more so that I follow philosophies than religion.
All right, so Mel, you seem real dismissive, you seem real blah about this. So religion has never in your life touched you or
I'm
affected
Hispanic.
you or controlled you in any way?
So I'm Hispanic. So I grew up in a Catholic home, right? So
Yes.
You're Hispanic, you're Catholic. That's just the way it is, right? And so growing up, the Catholic Church didn't make sense to me, And then as I got older, my mom evolved into different type of religion, Jehovah's Witness, which is even more controlling, and then ended up being Christian. And through it all, I just didn't feel it be useful for me. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't line up for what I viewed the world and the way I felt about the higher power. The controlling aspect of it, I don't like. I feel the people that be, because I believe in the hidden agenda, there's people that need ways to control the masses. There's a small group of people that control the world, and you have millions, billions of people. You have to create things to create fear, which then it just gives you access to control.
Is a fear monger.
Yes, absolutely.
Is it working? Because the world doesn't seem like it's very scared of God.
But people are docile, people are easily controlable. So yes, it is working.
Well, people, you're wired to be controlled. We're built.
No.
In our DNA.
You're programmed that way. You're not
our DNA
wired.
in our DNA, it's a part missing that they can't find. It's a part that's actually missing out of our DNA code. And in our DNA code, we're meant, if you study the Anunnaki and the ancient religions, they say that we were made to serve. Even in Islam, they say you are made to serve. Right. The Anunnaki is the oldest, tablets ever found. And when they came here, they came for gold. And they created human beings to mine gold. They made us to mine gold. And it ends where they're done mining their gold and they're leaving. And the dad goes, listen, 2 sons, all right, we out of here, kill them and we have to leave. And the Anunnaki, one brother say, you know what, I love them. I want to let them stay. And he kept them. So now I feel like if that is true, 'cause it is the oldest tablets ever found in the world, the Anunnaki. So if we were made to serve, that would explain why we believe in a book that never has been proved. We're believing in a book that never has been proved. Yeah, there's still sites in Jerusalem, there's still actual buildings, but no one can really say that God is real and have actual proof that God is real.
But it just gives us faith. I think people do it just because to have hope for the reason why we're living. Like, what is this here for? How is this here? You know, I think putting that responsibility on someone kind of like justifies why we're here.
Do you think that if we found out that God wasn't real, the world would just instantly turn to chaos?
Yes.
But God is real, though.
Instantly.
He might not be a man, though. He might not be a woman. He might not be a person. Whoever created us, we're here, right? I mean, I'm touching you. You're real, right? You feel we're real. We're here. We bleed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it might not have to be a guy. It might not have to be what's in the book. But like, there's somebody that did this, or something, or some, you know. And it don't gotta be a person.
So,
So you're saying like it's some like.
No, I'm saying I don't know what people believe in.
But when's the last time you made a choice on God? Like, you know what? I'm gonna not do this because God's watching.
I think when I decided to stop letting myself do too much pouring. I think it's just at that moment I was like, no, I need to provide more value for myself. So that was God for me.
Penny,
Or the Most
has there been a
High,
time in your life where you just
I don't
gave up
believe in
on God? Like, you know what? God ain't real. I'm going through too much right now. I'm going through too much drama. I'm struggling right now. God cannot be real. Like, have you ever like denounced God? Like, fuck, like I'm done with this.
I think there was a time where I denounced religion, and that's when I kind of slowly evolved into more of a broadened spiritual understanding of what God is. But I've never denounced the idea of a higher consciousness.
How about you? You ever just say, yo, God can't be real. I'm going through too much right now. Why me? Like, if God loves me, why am I going through all of this? Like, you ever had a moment where you said, F God?
No, because I feel like God's strongest soldiers always go through the mud, right? Like, that's just it. Like, I feel like I'm more of a chosen one than the one that's being born and have everything, right? Because we learn more of coming out the mud than having everything granted to
But
us.
see, it's kind of funny because I really feel as though like, I really understand, like, God confuses me a lot though, because they use God in slavery to keep the slaves calm. They use the Bible to say, if you love your God, you will respect your master. And the slaves, they really thought that if I still love God and I still pray every day, I'll be saved one day. Yeah. That's an example of insanity. The master is teaching you a new religion to learn where it's cool to have a slave.
You said it yourself. It was used on the slaves in this country as a form of control. Yeah. Look at history. History will always show you that religion has more use in controlling the masses.
Imagine being a slave getting whipped, and the same man that's beating you is giving you a lecture on religion that Sunday.
I think ignorance.
Imagine how powerful that has to be for you to believe him.
And how powerful it is that they're still to this day following
a religion of your slave master.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it's ignorance. I think that the more we started reading, people were allowed to read. Education, knowledge is power. I know that's cliche, but people started like blacks when they were slaves, and they started reading and they started writing, and they became powerful. They became educated. They became rulers of their own destiny, and that's when slaves started. You know, slavery started slowly.
But they still followed that same religion.
Yeah,
to
they
this
did.
day.
They did. But at the end of the day, when you start, look, you could read a religion. I went to church. I went to Sunday school. Everything. But because I read and write, and I'm like, I have knowledge and wisdom, like I can pick and choose what I want to take from the Bible.
That's fine.
Now, that's to me is the proper way to read the Bible or in religion, because whatever a man has his hands on has been altered. So when you enter religion, your goal is to look for things that relate to you. Every story won't sound correct. It's not really meant to sound correct. It's written in a different language, and you're saying it in your language. So things will get changed, twisted, and get
Lost
distorted.
in
And so my thing is, when I was a kid, I never believed in whatever I was being taught. I had questions of how did Noah build the Bible? Like, how did he build the ark by himself? Was he a regular? It said that he was 777 years old. Is that true? Like they missing details about, Adam being 5 meters tall. When it says the angels fell from the heavens and had children with the woman of earth. What does that mean? That something else came here and had children with the women of earth? Like, there's so many things in the Bible, if you really dwell on, you'll go crazy. So your goal is to take the small things that can help better your existence. Because even this whole topic, we went everywhere and we still haven't found a common ground. Even now.
No, we have. We all can agree that there's a higher power.
There's a higher power
That
for
is the
sure.
common ground.
And my thing is, how does us believing in God affect us? Is it making us better people, or we're just still doing the same things that we would do if we didn't believe in God?
I know people that are they say, "Oh, I'm an atheist," and I'm not gonna say that they're bad people.
It's like basically, I feel as though like us as human beings, we love a good story. We love a great story, but it needs an ending. I think the great story is the books that we worship and we read, and the ending is, the hell, or when Christ comes back. But in reality, it's a small possibility that none of it is true. It might just be a story to keep mankind civil and give us rules to live by. Now, I'm like you. I hope that it is true. I hope that there is a heaven. I pray that someone did create me and someone did love me. But it seems like religion is more used to control than it is to help in these times. You understand? I feel like religion is not used as for love as much as it is used for control. So I really feel like we're still gonna always have questions about religion and about God. But the one thing that we can agree with, that there is a higher power. And man may have hijacked this story and made it more convenient for us to be who we are today, society, and sleep at night. But I guess we won't find out until it's time to meet our maker. So y'all pray every night?
Not every night, but I pray.
Do you pray?
I talk to God, to the Most High.
Do you pray, Penny?
Every morning I journal, then I meditate, then I write a list of gratitude. That's my form of connection to Source, so I don't pray in traditional form, but yeah.
That's dope. How about you, Dre?
Definitely pray.
Definitely pray?
Yeah.
I do pray. I mean, one time I had like a headache one time, and I was like, God, I can't sleep. It's my third day. I can't sleep. You're driving me crazy. I was in college, and I put my head to the ground, and I seen a light, like a light flash, and my headache went away. And it was like, damn, no one's gonna ever believe the story, but like, God gave me an Advil from heaven. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do think that there's a God and it's a connection to us, but I also feel like I cannot believe everything I was told about him and his story until I actually found out myself, because the Bible has been rewritten over 100 times. 100 times.
I think the main message is that the idea of God, whatever we want to call this energy that exists, is separate from religion. Religion is a man-made construct. Nothing against it. You want to be a part of a religion, but religion is a man-made concept, and God is a separate concept.
That was perfect.
You know what
way
I'm
to end
saying?
it. Religion is a man-made concept,
Yeah.
but God is separate. And that's it for today. It's the 444. God forgive me. We out of here. Peace.